There are places from our memories that we always remember going to as a kid. Circuit City, Fires Electronics if you had one in your area. My older viewers may remember the likes of Montgomery Ward, or any other things, including Toys R Us. But there is one that unfortunately no longer exists. Down from what used to be operations in Canada, Portugal, Australia, the United Kingdom, and Mexico, is down to just one location at Bend, Oregon. This is the Rise and Fall of Blockbuster on Tech Titans. Hello everyone and welcome to Tech Titans here on Horizions. If you're new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified when we upload new content onto Horizions. With that, let's roll with the video. In the early years of physical media, especially with those collecting, you only had one of two options, either recording off-air or buying something from the store. Early tapes from the Magnetic Video Corporation, later CBS Fox Video and later Fox Video, would go on to release tapes for roughly $40 a piece. In the 80s, however, sell-through tapes were still pretty rare and hard to find. Mainly, everything was down for rental. However, certain sell-through tapes, as they were pointed out, would be around $79. Yikes. While Laserdisc releases would be around $40 around this time. However, rentals became soon popular, and in 1985, the first Blockbuster opened in Texas. Over the next couple of years, it would expand its foot market, adding stores in Illinois, Indiana, and across the 50 states. It soon began upwards of international expansion later down the road. By the mid-90s, Viacom International, which had just recently acquired Paramount, acquired Blockbuster around this time. Blockbuster Entertainment, which was now the parent company of Blockbuster, also acquired several syndication arms and television divisions around this time, which we'll not get into for this video. By the end of the 1990s, it started carrying a new format called DVD in its stores, and by this point was now competing with Hollywood Video for the rental market. There would be other smaller ones, mainly based in the Midwest, Family Video, and a few other rental stores, but nothing can compete between Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, which were the two biggest chains at the time. Its downfall, however, started to happen beginning in the 2000s. In early 2000, it had the chance to acquire a new website at the time called Netflix.com. However, Blockbuster declined the offer, saying that DVD online mail ordering was not a big thing and would not ever catch on. The company would reach its peak in 2004 with over 9,000 stores worldwide and over 84,000 employees working for the company. However, by this point, Netflix started to catch up with them, with its commercials offering no late fees and many other things. By 2007, it had offered its billionth DVD, and by this point, it was starting to become a massive competitor to the company. In January 2008, all rental disc subscribers that were part of Netflix started receiving unlimited streaming at no additional cost. This came as an introduction to Hulu and Apple's new video rental services at the time, which became very popular and soon overtook its DVD rental business online. As for Blockbuster, things were still not doing too good. As I mentioned previously in the Fall of Circuit City video, they had the chance to acquire the company in 2008, but due to economic conditions, they ultimately pulled away from the company. By this point, it was starting to close stores, and it was starting to become more apparent that this company was on the verge of a quick and massive death. By this point, streaming was starting to become very popular with consumers. Even Redbox, which was a small kiosk, was starting to become popular as well, with many people easily getting the DVD and handing out. It was easy to get, as it was mainly at most grocery stores. As for Blockbuster, things started to become worse. In 2010, it ceased all operations in Portugal, laying off all of its staff in the country. By this point, it had issued a bankruptcy warning and its CFO resigned. By this point, more stores continued to close up, and it was starting to become apparent that this was not going to last any longer. On the 23rd of September 2010, Blockbuster declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. By this, they can at least close some stores and try to get as much debt of the company as possible. However, in 2011, Dish Network of all things acquired the company. Although it attempted to keep more stores open, they soon scaled back on that promise, closing more stores. In 2012, they decided to stop competing with Netflix and essentially handed the bell to them. By this point, Netflix was a giant powerhouse and was starting to produce its own original content, and no longer just strictly streaming movies or shows based on companies they had contract rights with. By the end of the 2010s, Netflix would become one of the biggest powerhouses in streaming, and with that, it was essentially becoming a giant monolith. By 2013, it was time to finally give it up. By the beginning of November 2013, Dish Network started closing down its corporate offices of Blockbuster. Although the franchise's locations would remain there are not owned by Dish Network, it slowly closes more and more stores. By 2018, only a couple stores remained in Alaska, Oregon, and one in Texas. By 2019, there would be only one Blockbuster left, Bend, Oregon of all places, which still remains to this very day, even surviving the COVID-19 pandemic of all things. Although it is no longer the big powerhouse it was, it is still remembered for those that had to deal with late fees and many other things, including one of the biggest things of video renting. Although video rentals is no longer a thing and is a thing of the past, physical media is still around, with people still buying it with little to no problem. Meanwhile, Netflix finally got on their hand and started releasing several of its titles finally onto physical media beginning in 2016 and in 2017 respectively, with a deal with Criterion of all companies starting to release some of its films on it via the Criterion Collection. With that, Blockbuster is now simply a thing of the past. But if you live in Bend, Oregon, or like to make a trip over there, you could still visit the very last Blockbuster.
Nobody has the movie I want.
Hey, if it's on video, Blockbuster probably has it. I mean, we have over 10,000 videos.
Wow.
I'll watch these fast and have them back tomorrow, I promise.
Relax. At Blockbuster, you can keep your videos for 3 evenings, so take home plenty. And use our 24-hour quick drop.
Do you have any children's videos?
Sure. Blockbuster's America's family video store. You know, we have more kids' videos than any place else. More movies, more nights, more fun.
Blockbuster Video.
Wow, what a difference!